शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami.
Or you're setting a proper motivation, which are 3 parts. Refuge field. Let's visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in space in front of us as so loving, caring, and embracing. And Bodhicitta field, visualize your two grandparents, all of them members, including children, and all dear Mother Sentient beings, the human beings, into Thosamling, all the cats, dogs, the insects, the hungry ghosts, spirits, god and goddesses, hell beings, around here at Thosamling, in India, in your own country, in the world, in the entire Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. Just imagine that you're looking at their eyes, each one of them, with so much love, affection, attention, and care, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves so special in your eyes. And the whole purpose of our being together here is to awaken the seed of perfection within you, the ultimate treasure, happiness. To awaken this, we need to simply do a job to remove the mental defilements. To remove the mental defilements, we need to know the nature of the mental defilements. To apply which remedy, to know which remedy to apply, we need to know the nature of the defilements. And the natural defilements, we see that it is of two kinds, gross and subtle. Gross one referred to as afflictive obscurations, the presence of which blocks us from attaining infinite or the total fearlessness, technically referred to as nirvana. And this is consisted of contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. And the subtle one referred to as cognitive obscurations, presence of which blocks us from attaining infinite happiness, technically referred to as Buddhahood. And what remedies apply, given that all these developments, they are connected, related to the self-grasping ignorance, either in the form of offshoots, and what stems from this self-grasping ignorance, or the subtle stains of self-grasping ignorance. Given that all these afflictive mental developments are related to the self-grasping ignorance, the remedy becomes very obvious, the wisdom to know the reality as it is, wisdom of emptiness. And there too, the very high-level wisdom of emptiness, referred to as the non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas, also technically referred to as the ultimate bodhicitta. And this wisdom, to what extent it can eradicate the mental defilements, the gross or subtle, is determined by motivation. If the motivation is very powerful motivation, the enthusiasm bodhicitta, then this has the ability to get rid of all the mental defilements to attain the ultimate happiness of the Buddhahood, for yourself and for all dear sentient beings. To have this the motivation of bodhicitta, the ground is the compassion, great compassion towards all the beings. And this, to feel this great compassion directed towards other beings, we must feel renunciation directed towards the self. So we see the need of the renunciation, the bodhicitta grounded in great compassion, the wisdom of emptiness, and to stabilize all these three practices, we require the shamatha practice. And where we are matured, once we become matured in these four practices, then we are ready for the practice of Tantra, where it helps us greatly to expedite the path, which otherwise take like 3 countless eons to make you attain full awakening within a single lifetime. But of course it requires these 4 prerequisites, without which then it can be more dangerous to think of accelerating the car without the good condition of the car, the car can easily go into fire. It can catch fire so fast. So, with this desire to learn these four practices in this life, and to create the blueprint we're doing here today. So, with this motivation, let us turn to page 4, page 3, page 3. And this with great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And this with great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And this with great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Okay, page 4. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to for all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to for all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to for all sentient beings. Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Chanju Padu Dani Yapsu Chi Dage Jinso Kibe Sonam Ye Tola Benjir Sanje Dubare Jo Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Chanju Padu Dani Yapsu Chi Dage Jinso Kibe Sonam Ye Tola Benjir Sanje Dubare Jo Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Chanju Padu Dani Yapsu Chi Dage Jinso Kibe Sonam Ye Tola Benjir Sanje Dubare Jo. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrated consummate Buddha, the supreme of all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacifically into complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths, courses of helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subduers expound varieties of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teachers who guard and protect her, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines for the forever noble light raised, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence I gender the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam Shamdathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peacefully, liberation-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is nectar Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will return to words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space, is object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, with 3 times obeisance. The forces of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcendent disorder is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. A Guru is also everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings from miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred with them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed. To you, the complete and full awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then set them supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Just like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the filler married with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees from the attachment, the virtue that frees from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Heart Sutra, page 29. Okay. I prostrate to the irretrievable gem. Thus did I hear at one time, the Buddha was dwelling on a massive Alchas mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom, and behold, those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara, how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, failing, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation of path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, and the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Yata Om Gade Gade Bara Gade Bara Sam Gade Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Buddha rose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you've indicated, even that the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharidvati Putra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokteshvara, those around the end, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Buddha. Deta Om Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may inner and outer hindrances be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspices of perfect happiness pervade this place now. 8 verse of mind training, page 35. With the determination to achieve the highest aim, for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectful hold others as superior. And as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character and those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, I may take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I helped or in whom I placed great hopes misses me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer a benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all these remain undefiled, but stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may, recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds were smiled blinded with ignorance. Okay, similar practice. I bow down to the youthful Ara Manjushri. You, the Buddhas, the lions amongst humans, gone to freedom in the present, past, and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you, with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down, with energy or aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of great deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world. To you, all Buddhas, of visualize this real, I bow down. On every particle are Buddhas, numberless as particles, each amidst a host of Bodhisattvas. And I'm confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Sugathas. Beautiful flowers in sacred gardens, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, offer to you victorious ones, the Buddhas. Fine dress and fragrant perfume, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offering in a spectacular array, offered to victorious ones. With transcendental offerings peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and ignorance, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift my heart and rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers here still training in those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You are the bright lights of the worlds in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stage of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn this supreme will of Dharma. Request you, whom actualize parinirvana, please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated, by making prostration, offering and confessing, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. Okay, mantle offering. In fact, it is that some of us who are not exposed to all these rituals, you may find that these rituals, like mantle offering and so forth, prostration, light offering and so forth, as little, you may not feel it too sensible, or you may not feel resonating with what is being done. So if you don't feel they say them as for you to do comfortable with these, you don't have to do. Don't worry about it. Just learn what they are doing, and gradually learn if there's any reason behind this reason, not just a reason, but a benefit in doing so. Learn, and if you don't see any till you see the benefit, you don't really have to do. Just you learn. That's it. A new information. And later on, if you come to discover that there's a lot of benefit, then nobody can stop you. Do it on your own. Okay. This ground adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha filled and over it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajibege Joshe Menotam Lerable Shenyende Gembode Sanye Shendo Mede Bevaye Togun nam da shi la che bara sho. The four Dhammas, Venerable Kambhapa. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The four Dhammas, Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva, becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence. Please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Radha Mende Lagam Nirate Amen. The foundation of all good qualities, the roadmap to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and pure perfect Guru. Correct devotion. Okay, next page. It is page 42. The foundation of all good qualities is our kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly decay and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtues and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, and alertness in great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so for all other migratory beings, please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distraction to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate kudi within my mind stream, the unified path of karma abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble paths and the spiritual friends who practice their long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separate from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of stages and paths, may could attain the state of Vajratara. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, a Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, disturb hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sage, land of snows, loves on top by your feet and make prostrations. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and my usury master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, disturb hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of the snows, those on top of your feet and make prostrations. We are next generating the Madhu Consumed Yoga, the actual practice, which consists of four parts. Okay, first the meditation, single shamatha meditation, single point meditation on breath, the breath and the white thought. For this meditation, the most important thing is okay for the sitting for the what is number one, body posture, upright posture, not rigid but flexible, and the eyes not closed. These are two most important things. Then the number three, identify the errors of meditation. Extremely important. If you don't identify the errors of meditation, and then if you just flow with the errors, no matter how much time you spend, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, every day is just waste of time. And not only waste of time, it's extremely harmful in ways that later on you will see that the only remedy by which to tame your mind, even that is gone. The medicine has turned poison. So no medicines now. So therefore, when the errors happen, you should be watchful of them and make sure that right from the beginning, the quality is emphasized. Whereas for emptiness and bodhicitta, don't look for the qualities. You first work on consistency. But whereas for the single point of meditation, right from the beginning, the quality should be emphasized, not the quantity. If you do see that you have some problems with the two errors of meditation, apply the remedies. And remedies must be applied on the spot. Mindful introspection and mindfulness. Ready? 5 minutes. Okay, next renunciation on the basis of the four seals. This is going to be analytical. The first one is single point meditation or shamatha meditation. The remaining three of them are analytical. We need to have as vast information about what constitutes renunciation, what constitutes bodhicitta, what constitutes emptiness. Okay, for this we need to study more systematically. That would be very helpful. And yeah, okay. The four principles ready. Sorry, 4 C's. Renunciation. Renunciation is to renounce our miseries. To renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the cause of the miseries. As the Buddha indicated, E dharma hetu prabhava, hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. All these phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. And only if you know what the causes are of sufferings, then we can think of how to get rid of this. Tesham jayo nirodha evam vadima shramanaso. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. So what are the causes Buddha identified? Well, the Buddha identified like 84,000 the mental defilements or afflictions, all to be subsumed under the of contaminated karmic afflictions, and we see that the Buddha identified the ignorance as the root of the problems, and the ignorance Buddha identified 4 layers. Of course, there are so many layers, but at one point the Buddha identified 4 of them as the primary, the ignorances responsible for our miseries. And they are misconceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent, misconceiving miseries as happiness, misconceiving impure things as pure, misconceiving what is selfless nature as of selfhood. To counteract the four kinds of ignorance, the Buddha taught the 4 seals. The first, all composite things are impermanent. Let's try to reflect on meanings as much as possible without trying to correlating what I'm sharing with you here with what you've learned before, what you've read before. If you do want to correlate, you can correlate later on, not now. So at the moment, let us take the opportunity to invoke some experience within us. For this, just let flow your experience. The composite phenomena consist of things which are physical nature and which are mental in nature. They are composite in ways that they're composed of material parts or temporal parts. And what's constituted of material parts and temporal parts should necessarily be of impermanent nature. And the impermanence is of 2 kinds, gross and subtle impermanence. It's so important for us to meditate on the gross impermanence. This will make us to move into the subtle impermanence, without which meditation on subtle impermanence will not make it. In the first place, not come, and moreover, it will not make much sense to us. Gross impermanence will give her a deep sense of urgency, and then the subtle impermanence added to that, it will make extremely refined understanding of a sense of urgency. Gross impermanence, whose impermanence, whose continuum comes to an end. The Buddha taught, whatever stands falls, whatever is gathered disperses, what is accumulated wears out, whatever is born dies. This is incredible big statements the Buddha made, and which hold so true. For us in our life, we have met with many dear, near, dear and close ones. Some of them are gone forever. And your youth, you experienced once where everybody is talking to you, talking about your youth, you are young and so forth. That time is gone. And many of the people who you know during your youth, during your childhood, now they have grown old, you have grown old. And at times you ask these young people, how is your mother doing? How is your father doing? The response is, my mother passed away, my father passed away. This is impermanence. And today we see young people struggling for their life. Some of them have so much of expectations in their life, with careers, goals in their life. Even the parents, they have so much expectation of the children. This is exactly what happened 200 years ago, 150 years ago, 300 years ago. Of course, the number of the population of the planet Earth was not as much as what we have now. But the people had the same aspiration, goals. The children have their goals, aspirations, and the parents have the expectation from the children, so forth. Today, where are they? Whether the expectations, aspirations are fulfilled, not fulfilled? Everyone is gone. Even the day one old born child, the baby was also gone today, nowhere to be seen. This impermanence, yes, that's true. At times, with the flood, with the landslides, what is the soul, what is the village so alive today, full of life, vibrancy. The next morning, all gone. You wake up and you see the whole village gone, whole town sunk in water, washed away by landslide, washed away by flood. Yes, it does happen, and sometimes extremely sad to see the whole village be consumed by the fire of the wildfire. Yes, this is true. And it's not that they are unfortunate, we are fortunate ones. No, 200 years down the line in the future, not even a single person out of these 8 billion human beings will be survived then. That's for sure, 100%. And out of these 8 billion human beings, how many will be remembered? Only few who are extremely compassionate, who made an incredible great contribution to the world. And in the country, somebody who made a contribution to a country. Some of these will be remembered. For example, 2,500 years ago, Buddha Shakyamuni is remembered. Lord Jesus Christ is remembered. Lord Mahavir is remembered. Guru Nanak is remembered. So we see that some of these great teachers. Ram is remembered. So this is what happens. For example, Rumi is remembered. Extremely intelligent, so compassionate, thinking about the humanity. Bahula is remembered. Otherwise, out of these, after all these generations of the people, only a handful of people remember, that's it. And many of us, we think about your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and you think of a whole line of succession. And these people in the line of succession will not even remember who you are. You will not even have a clue who you are. That's very sad. The parents, they do everything for the offsprings. And later generations, they will not even have a clue that you existed once upon a time. And yet you put all the efforts for them. So therefore, wise people, of course, your responsibility will be done. But think of a bigger responsibility to do things for yourself, short-term, long-term, plus not only for Only few people who are not going to even remember you later on, but to all the sentient beings, whether they remember or not, it doesn't matter. So this is how expansive your heart will become if you become more wise. Okay. So all these impermanent phenomena, we see that they are governed by the momentariness. The change that you see in 10 years' time is possible only if the change happens on a yearly basis, monthly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond, composite things are changing. And what is milli by millisecond change? All composite things should necessarily go through this momentary change. Your body, your mind, the people around you, the house you live in, the food that you eat, every composite phenomenon should necessarily go through this momentary change. If you really get a glimpse of this, very scary. You live in the flux of the atoms of the universe. There's nothing which remains static. You will see that they're all constantly in constant flux of change. Okay, just imagine that you are thrown into a very fast-moving train. What do you feel? Faster train, the more the fear. Why fear? Because not knowing where this train is taking us. Likewise, we're moving so fast. Momentarily, we are changing. On the level of the nanosecond, we are moving that fast. If you really see that, very scary. Where am I going? This next question. So, where is that train taking us? If the train driver is your mother, no doubt it will take you to a picnic spot. But if the train driver is a terrorist, or in the hands of the terrorist, no doubt it will take you to a slaughterhouse. In our case, the train is our mind. And unfortunately, our mind is under the dictate of the two worst terrorists, two worst contaminations: self-grasping ignorance and complemented by the self-centered attitude. As long as we are being driven by these two, they will only take us to sickness, aging, death, sickness, aging, death, sickness, aging, death. This is known as the cycle of miseries, perpetuating us into these miseries endlessly. Oh yes, this is the meaning of all contaminated things of suffering nature. Suffering like what? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, bewilderment, confusion, so forth. In short, there are three kinds of suffering. Suffering change, and pervasive condition suffering. One moment of such a pain is good enough. The loss of near and dear ones. Just one moment of loss of near and dear one is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of misery, all the past experiences of merriments, festivities, birthday parties, and ceremonies, and so forth. These are all just so hollow, shallow, meaningless, gloomy, grim. This is what we discover. This is reality. Yes, it's so painful indeed. They say, when will this stop? 2022 stopped on its own. When will these stop? For impermanent phenomena, there are three kinds. Just we talked about two, there are also three kinds. Impermanent phenomena whose continuum will stop invariably, no matter what you do or what you don't do. 2022, it came to an end on its own. The second class of impermanent phenomena whose continuum never stops. For example, your mind, the time, and so forth. No matter what you do, these will never terminate. There's the third class of impermanent phenomena whose continuum will stop only if you put a concerted effort. For example, like your self-grasping ignorance, your contaminant karmas, afflictions, cognitive obstacles, so forth. Only if you put concerted effort, you can think of exterminating the continuum. Okay, what kind of effort is required? For this, we need to know the root of the miseries. What is the root of miseries? The root of miseries lies the self-grasping ignorance. How to exterminate that? By introducing the counter-force. What is the counter-force? Counter-force is wisdom. What is the wisdom? Wisdom is the discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the reality? The reality was the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything's nature, emptiness and selflessness. Okay, today we'll meditate on the emptiness of the self, yourself. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. What is your body doing? My body is in a meditative posture. And how does this person who you identify as I appear to you? Like a dream that your mind is projecting the self like a dream, or so independently objectified, solidified there, independent of my mind. Of course, it appears as so object real, independent of my mind. This perception and this belief, this apprehension of the self to be object real, this is deceptive. This is known as self-grasping ignorance. This is at the root of all the miseries. Okay, how do I know that? How can I know that this self-grasping ignorance, this self-grasping is ignorance, is not a valid mind? Yes, if the self does exist, the way it appears so objective real. Remember what Aranyaka taught. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? With a similar token of reasoning, if this self would exist objectively, why don't I see this self as I go closer to its object? Okay, let us now go closer to the object, subject the self to ultimate analysis which goes too close to the object to see what that is like. Subjecting self to ultimate analysis will just ignore all those things which are not the self, because you're interested in looking for the objectively existing self. Okay, subjecting self to ultimate analysis, we first end up seeing the thin layer of the skin. Going too close to the self, we see the thin layer of the skin. Of course, this is not the self. Behind that, the fatty tissues. Behind that, the muscles, cartilages, the flesh. Alongside the whole skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the gallbladder, intestines, spleen, pancreas, and so forth. And none of these solid parts constitute the element earth. And we see the element earth is to be not identified as objectively, meaning that you go too close to object in the eyes of ultimate analysis. None of these solid parts constitute this self, or none of these solid parts is the self. That's true. Element water, 4 liters of blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Element fire, 2,500 joules of energy, the body which constitutes the body heat. Of course, that is not me. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that you breathe in and out through your lungs. Of course, that is not me. Element space, 99.99% of your body is space. The space occupied between the electrons and nucleus is huge in comparison with the space occupied by the electrons, protons, and neutrons. Essentially, we are like a vacuum. But the space which constitutes 99% of our body is, even that is also not me. The space vacuum in nature, I am a solid person. What's left? Element of consciousness, or your mind. My mind is not me. I'm a male, I'm a female, I'm a third gender. Yet, my mind does not have a gender. And gender is possible on the basis of the body. And people also cannot see me. People cannot see my mind, but they can see me. Therefore, this mind is also not me. Okay. Now, subjecting self-ultimate analysis, we see that if at all there's something objective real, you see the 6 elements. Which of 6 elements constitute the self as objectively one with the self, or objectively the self? None of these 6 elements. If you are very certain about this is the understanding of the emptiness of objects being one with its parts. Okay. Now, look for the second possibility for the self to exist objectively. going too close to the object. If the six elements of the self, remove them. The parts of the self, remove them, and see if the self does exist as independently different from or as intrinsically different from these six elements. Remove six elements, what do you find? I don't find anything as a self there left there in our ultimate analysis. Okay, these are the only two possibilities for the self to exist objectively, and given that both are ruled out, there's no possibility for self to exist objectively. Yes. Okay, now tell me, what do you see as a self by being too close to the object when subjecting the self to its ultimate analysis? What is there as a self? What is the self? Nowhere to be seen as a self in its ultimate analysis, which means it doesn't mean the self doesn't exist. It means self doesn't exist in its ultimate analysis, which means that self doesn't exist objectively. From the object, there's no self to be identified. If you are sure of this, you get a conclusion. Emptiness of objective existence of the object is the objectivity of the object. You see the emptiness. Stay in this experience for a while. Wow, that's amazing. The self, who I identify as I, dissolves. A tinge of a fear can come in your mind. A tickling sensation can come to you across the body. Cold waves can flow through your body. Or very tranquil, extremely peaceful state of mind can dawn in you. If any of these indications come, you're very fortunate. This is indicative of the fact that you're in the proper path. If none of these things happen, don't worry. It's just telling us to study more, reflect more, and meditate more. These experiences will eventually come. Okay, good. This is so profound, but what's the benefit? Yes, just as you subject yourself to ultimate analysis, the self dissolves. Likewise, we subject all these sorrows of your life, disturbance, agitation, sickness, aging, death, tension, pain of losing near and dear ones, all these subjected to ultimate analysis, they all dissolve. Wow, that's amazing. All these pain, sorrows are transcended. The opposite of force of the pains dawn within me, which is absolute peace. This is what the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. This is nirvana. Amazing. Okay. But we cannot sustain this experience. We don't have this ability to or the stability of this practice. Only when you gain the stability where your misery is dissolved, this is nirvana. Otherwise, all others are similitude to nirvana. Yes, amazing. It just generate this desire, aspiration. May I be soon able to experience this emptiness where all my sorrows are transcended. This aspiration is known as renunciation. Stay in this experience of renunciation for a while. Good. Next, bodhicitta. Just take a few seconds rest. Okay, ready? Good. And let us reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas as so loving, caring, and embracing. Just imagine that how your mother once upon a time, when you were just aged 4, 5, 6, how your mother's eyes, they were fully directed, focused on you with total attention of love, affection. This is exactly what is happening to you. All the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they've directed their mind just for you with so much love, affection, and attention. And you are surrounded by your two kind parents, all of them members include children, and all the Dhamma sentient beings. You as a very responsible young girl, young boy, You bring all your siblings, all the dimension beings, to practice bodhicitta with you, so that they don't have to suffer anymore. Are you with this mind? Let's do the bodhicitta practice on the basis of the method of equalizing and exchange of self-others, one by one. First, equalizing self and others. We are all equal. Even the most difficult person is by no means is inferior to you. We are all equal in ways that we are all equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. And we are all equal in being so important. We all have the Buddha nature. For somebody to become the king is considered so important. More important than becoming king is to become Buddha, and everyone has the seed to become a Buddha nature. Yes, we are all equal. Henceforth, in my life, if I do encounter with a situation where there's somebody's rush, I will rush first, and the rush first towards safety. Now I'll change it, because we're all equal. That I've never thought about. Although I know this intellectually, I never thought about this constantly. Think about this constantly. Yes, we're all equal. By no means I deserve a special treatment. We're all equal. If at all somebody has to suffer, anyone, including me, not necessarily somebody else has to suffer, not me. So this is totally deceptive state of mind. And this deceptive state of mind attracts only miseries. Yes, henceforth. Yes, I need to make effort to equalize myself with others more and more. In the process of equalizing self and others, by undermining self-centered attitude, I become more happy, more released. Amazing. Next, reflect on the demerits of cherishing oneself. More the cherishing yourself, you tend to be more angry. You tend to be more agitated, more anger. Your immunity goes down, your health goes down. People spend hours and hours every day to go for gym. What's the point of this if your mind is full of anger because of selfishness, ego? Your health goes down, continuous immunity goes down. No matter how much you put effort, the immunity is gone, your health will go down. Yes, that's very true. And your reputation and all these things decline when you are so egoistic and so selfish and nobody's there to really truly love you. And we are all these social animals. We can't survive without affection and care of others. And this care and affection of others, they're being pushed by the ego, selfishness. That's very true. Bodhisattva Sharadeva conclude by saying, all happiness the world contains are derived through wishing happiness for others. All miseries that you go through are derived through the desire to wish happiness just for oneself. And further added that what more to say? Just look at the comparison between the Buddhas and ordinary beings. Buddhas who always think about others attain the ultimate happiness, total fearlessness. Whereas the ordinary beings always think about oneself. One is always deprived of your happiness, always meet with miseries. This is so true. So all the miseries that you see in the world, for example, like in the wilderness, all the animals have to live in fear. Even the strongest lion has to live in fear that one day the younger lion will become stronger, you become older, they will attack you. And then as you become older, or you are injured, or you become older, you cannot run as fast as you used to, then other animals will come to eat you up. So there's no escape, there's no exception to even a single tiny creature in the wilderness. All have to live in fear. And this is a result of the karmic negative karma accumulated, ripening of this negative karma accumulated, triggered by the self-grasping ignorance, complemented by the self-centered attitude. Again, we see the self-centered attitude which triggers all these miseries. In the ocean, all these tiny animal creatures are eaten by the bigger ones. The bigger ones are eaten by the smaller ones. There's constant strife there in the ocean. No, not even a single animal creature in the ocean can live in peace. It's all because of the rapid results of the negative karma created by the self-centered attitude. How demonic this self-centered attitude. If at all you feel angry, you generate anger towards somebody, that should be directed towards the self-centered attitude. This is a wise person, directing your anger towards a self-centered attitude rather than directing anger towards outside people. Okay, that's amazing. Henceforth, I will stop being self-centered. I'll try my best to exterminate this self-centered attitude. Lack of wealth is because of the stinginess. Stinginess because of the self-centered attitude. Short life, lack of longevity, bad rebirth and so forth because of the immorality. Immorality of harming others is again because of this self-centered attitude. Again, look, lack of the glow, lack of the presence in your being is because of the anger and hatred and so forth. Again, which is in turn is because of the self-grasp, self-centered attitude. And lack of the elegance is because of the laziness, and laziness is because of the self-centered attitude. No peace of mind is because of lack of concentration. Lack of concentration because of the constant wandering of your mind, which your self-centered attitude makes you to do so. And lack of freedom from miseries is because of lack of wisdom. Lack of wisdom is because you are constantly consumed in the ignorance due to the self-centered attitude. In short, the Buddha taught that where there is the evil mind, all the undesirable results are attracted, such as poverty, the ill health, lack of longevity, bad rebirth, lack of glow, lack of elegance, lack of peace of mind, and lack of freedom from samsara, lack of Buddhahood. It's all because of the self-centered attitude. That's true. That's true. Henceforth, I'll never be befriending with the self-centered attitude. Okay, with this conviction, move number 3. Reflect on the merits of cherishing others. Just reflect on the opposite of these four. This is what you did as the demerits of the cherishing oneself. When other cherishing happens, you start embracing others. When embracing others, you accumulate only positive karmas. With the positive karmas, you don't have to take birth in the wilderness. You don't take birth in the oceans as these creatures, where everybody has to live in fear. And whereby you are loved by everybody, you are respected by everybody, as opposed to being rejected by others. You will not feel lonely. You engage in generosity out of concern for others, out of other cherishing, and generosity brings wealth. You engage in the morality of not harming others, staying away from harming others. This brings longevity, long life, good health, good rebirth. You don't engage in anger. You practice patience. Because of this, you have the beauty in your appearance. This is again because of the practice of other cherishing, concern for others. Because of the practice of enthusiasm, you have the elegance in your presence, presence in your being. And this practice of enthusiasm, because of the concern for others' welfare, tremendous enthusiasm to vote for others. Because of the practice of the serenity, sense of concern for others. It keeps your mind calm, preparing you for the practice of the shamatha. and because of which your mind feels at peace. Because of the other cherished mind, you are not really there to harm others. Your mind is not really into agitation. You get the possibility to practice the wisdom which calms your mind. And this takes you to liberation, freedom from samsara, and freedom to ultimate happiness, Buddhahood altogether. Again, it's all because of the other cherished mind. In short, the Buddha concluded by saying, where there's the other cherished mind, all the good qualities are attracted, just as a magnet attracts all the unfilings. Amazing. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, with this we move to the next two practices. Being so well aware of the benefit of cherishing others, demerits of cherishing oneself. You see that cherishing others is like a safe haven, security for you, shelter for you. And self-centered attitude is the demon, is a consuming a demon, to be in the demon's mouth. Yes. Seeing this difference, I'll be so happy to embrace others with love and affection. Yes. Step 4. Taking the suffering of others with emphasis love, with emphasis compassion. Okay, let's take the suffering of others one by one. First, suffering. Any suffering that you can think of, manifest suffering of others. You take that as you breathe in the form of very dirty, acidic, gushing water through your left nostril, going towards the heart, then eating up the self-centered attitude with soul, which as self-centered attitude, self-grasping ignorance there, along with your heart, eating them, and then you feel tremendous fear and paranoia to see that you are being eaten up. Actually, your self-centered attitude is being eaten up, and then this dirty water, they go down through your feet and through underneath the ground. Okay, 3 times. Next, taking the suffering change in the form of taking the bait otherwise which hooks the beings in so much of pain, suffering. It's because of being hooked by the suffering change. You're hooked, and then you feel the pain of the hook. At first, you see the bait, the food, and then you jump to the food, and then you're hooked, suffering. Again, take all the suffering of change, the bait of others unto you, and the beings are freed of being deception, being under the sway of the deception of the bait, like suffering change 3 times. Next, pervasive conditioned suffering in the form of the masterminds of all these, the suffering change. The mastermind in the form of being under the sway of contaminant karmas, afflictions, and particularly self-grasping ignorance, being the servant of these two. This is the mastermind of all our miseries. Take all these, the self-grasping ignorance, and the purpose condition for all the beings to you 3 times. Just imagine all the beings are now freed from all three forms of miseries. You're so happy that you're able to take this suffering on yourself, and that they're all washed away. And your self-centered attitude also consumed by this, they're all washed away. For all the beings are freed. Your self-centered attitude is gone. You're also freed. Wow, that's amazing. Next, giving happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. Happiness, giving, generosity. There are four kinds. Generosity of material resources, generosity of affection, generosity of protection, of fearlessness, and generosity of dharma. First, generosity of material resources. Just as you breathe out, imagine that all your virtues, all these material resources are a result of the virtues. Send your virtues in the form of the light rays and nectar through your right nostril. Choose all the beings, the mere touch with the beings who are deprived from material resources. These virtues, these nectars, what else they transform into food, the houses, clothes, and all whatever they require, money, resources, and so forth, and they are relieved of their poverty. 3 times. Next, the generosity of affection. Imagine that the nectars, just by meeting with the beings, they transform into Buddhas, Bodhisattvas in yourself, and giving the love and affection, listening to them, and then all day feeling hopelessness, feeling helplessness, demoralized, feeling low and depressed. The beings are all lifted up, taken out of this depression, stress, and loneliness. 3 times. Just imagine that everyone is lifted up. They all come out of that depression, stress, anxiety, and feeling loneliness and helplessness. Wow. Next, the generosity of fearlessness or protection. Again, send the nectar through your right nostril to all the beings who are in the hospitals, ICUs, who are in the hands of the terrorists, who are in the hands of the cooks in the fast hotel, in the KFC, and so forth, in the domestic violence, in the hands of the somebody in the family bullying them, and then again they send the nectars and the white lights, the mere touch of the beings. You manifest there in the different innumerable forms to save the poor chickens from the KFCs, in the fast hotel, in the hands of the terrorists. From the terrorists, you release them, release victims, and the domestic violence. All the people who are suffering in silence in the family, they're all being relieved, freed. Okay, three times. Just imagine that because of your magic done, all of these victims are free. They meet with their family members, very affectionate, loving parents, children, and so forth. They feel such a relief, rescued, so happy. Next, generosity of Dharma. Dharma of 4 kinds. renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, and the non-dual bliss of emptiness. Okay, first, renunciation. As you send the nectars, the mere touch transforms into Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, giving teachings, and you yourself also there giving teachings on how to renounce the miseries, how to renounce the ignorance, so that they don't have to suffer anymore. And that everybody feels the way, the benefit of generating renunciation 3 times. Good. Next is the teaching of the bodhicitta. Again, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they are there with you, nectars and rituals, and they give teachings of bodhicitta, how to benefit so that you will experience the maximum happiness, and all the beings are so convinced that henceforth I'll practice bodhicitta, that I don't have to experience the lack of love and affection, lack of the happiness. I'll be having an abundance of happiness, infinite happiness. This bodhicitta is so precious. Everybody feels the benefit of the bodhicitta, and they're just so eager, enthusiastic to practice bodhicitta 3 times together. Okay, good. Next, the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness. The 2 aspirations that the beings generated today because of your inspiration and encouragement. Now, how to materialize the goals of the 2 aspirations? By actually remove the mental dirt which otherwise attracts the miseries and attracts the lack of happiness. By resorting to the wisdom of emptiness. Just imagine all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas giving the teaching of emptiness, all the beings feel that, okay, so this is the waking up from the sleep of ignorance. I'll not be affected by the dream anymore. To no fears, no lack of happiness. My happiness is boundless, infinite, and the fearlessness is just so profound. 3 times. And if possible, whatever little experience of emptiness that you get, to invoke that experience. Yes, anybody who can feel this emptiness will be liberated, will have the ultimate, the infinite happiness 3 times. Okay, good. Next, sharing the teaching of the union of bliss and emptiness to expedite the path of the wisdom of emptiness, renunciation and bodhicitta. Imagine that these Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they teach the path to make the practice of renunciation and bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, so effective and fast, blend with the bliss of the purity of your heart 3 times. Okay, good. Now, step 6, actual exchange of the self and others. Just generate very strong feeling that henceforth, if at all, I have to be indifferent to somebody, or I'll be indifferent to somebody, it'll be myself rather than others. If at all, I would be cherishing somebody, I'll cherish others more than to myself. Okay, just make this very strong commitment. Okay, next. Special recollection of the kindness of others. Okay. Think of the ultimate, the long-term benefit, short-term benefit. Short-term benefit there too. Small scale, large scale. Small scale, your near and dear ones is not special because everybody knows how to feel the benefit of the benefit that you get from your parents, so forth, which are nothing but a small scale, short-term benefit. Okay, now think of the neutral beings. How in the crowd you feel safe because of the neutral beings as your protection, and feel the benefit of this. Think of this. Think of the one plate of food that you get the breakfast on a table. It involves so many hands, billions of people. The food came to the materials came to your kitchen. Somebody's preparing the food there in the kitchen, and the material came to the kitchen from the shops, and it's by the car. Car has run on the road. Somebody built the road. So many thousands of people built the road, and the cars or the trucks, they're made of the metals. They require the petrol. Petrol come from the petroleum. Then the metals come from the iron mining. And how many people died there? And these materials, raw materials of the food, they come from the farms. How many millions of hands are involved there? And how many worms are there related to them? Related to making the land fertile. And the people who associate with these farmers, people who associate with the miners, and like in the border area, how many soldiers are there to give us protection? Every tiny thing that you enjoy involves millions and billions of hands over the thousands of years. Yes, that's true. Do you know them? No, they are neutral beings. It is the neutral beings that I get all the large scale short-term benefits. They're so kind. Just feel them. Let your mind flow towards neutral beings, because of whom you get all the large scale benefit, like aeroplanes, trains, cars, so forth. Not that your mother can manufacture these. It's because of the neutral beings, millions of neutral beings, the large scale, the production, mass production, millions of hands involved there. Feel the kindness, the benefit that you get from them. Your mind will naturally flow. Let your mind flow towards neutral beings. Connect them with the benefit that you get. Connect them with the benefit that you get. Automatically your mind will flow towards neutral beings. Yes. Finally, the difficult people. The greatest of the benefit is the lasting happiness, nirvana, Buddhahood. This is only possible with the practice of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is only possible by reflecting, by the expanding your mind towards all the beings. There must be other beings there, particularly difficult ones. Subtler the bodhicitta depends on subtler identifying your self-centered attitude. It is the difficult people who will make you identify the subtlest of the ignorant, subtlest of the self-centered attitude. Only with this you can exterminate the deeply rooted subtle self-centered attitude that gives you the Buddhahood. Buddhahood is only given to you by the most difficult people, most difficult situation in time, in space, the greatest amount of the suffering in space, and the greatest amount of suffering in time. These are situations which help you identify the subtlest ignorance, subtlest of the self-centered attitude. The moment you think of a very difficult person, you just lose hope. No, even losing hope is because of the subtle self-centered attitude inside. Seeing the massive scale of the miseries in humanity, in sentient beings, again you lose hope because of the self-centered attitude acting on you. No, I'm so glad that this situation allows me to identify the subtle self-centered attitude, and seeing how in time, so the suffering never comes to an end. you lose hope. Again, suffering never comes to an end in time. This allows me to identify the subtle self-centered. Wow, these are great opportunities for me. These are not challenges. These are the opportunities for me to identify the subtle self-centered attitude. Wow. Having identified this, I will do everything to exterminate this by standing firm in the face of the challenges, adversaries. Wow, that's a great opportunity. So most of difficult people, the worst of difficult people, the worst of the scenario in space and in time, these are the greatest of the opportunity for me. So it's all because of these situations, these difficult people, that I can expect to be totally freed of miseries and have the maximum happiness, infinite happiness. It's all because of these difficult people. I'm so grateful to them that they're giving me the Buddhahood, they're giving me the fearlessness and infinite happiness. They're so kind. Just feel that. Wow. Now, because of this, henceforth, I don't have to go through any miseries anymore. I don't have to shed tears anymore. And these difficult people, they made me to reach that enlightened state. So grateful to you. Thank you. Each one of you who appeared as so difficult, you are like my teachers. Thank you so much for giving me the maximum benefit. Thank you. When you feel that, your mind flows towards them. Wow, that's amazing. Special recollection comes out. Now you see no one as your enemy. Everyone is your extremely the loving, the ones to whom you love so much. Your mind flows so freely towards them. Yes, think of this situation. They are suffering terribly because of self-grasping and self-centered within them. Just as mother's mind flows towards her children to see that they are suffering, you are just filled with compassion for all the beings. Feel that compassion that you are suffering because self-grasping, self-centered attitude, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, tears, endless tears in the mouth of the demon. And you're deprived of compassion, you're deprived of happiness. You're deprived of, may you have the happiness, may you be freed from suffering. Feel that for all the demons and the beings. Who is going to do this? I will do it. Altruism. I will do it. Feel that. I will do it. Feel that. Make this commitment. I will do it to make sure that all beings are freed from suffering, that all beings have the maximum happiness. Wow. How can you do this? Yes, look at the history of humanity. Once there was Prince Siddhartha, and who, seeing that, who been through all these steps, step 1 through to step 7. Step 7, then he left the palace. He left the palace driven by the compassion in search of the solution to all these problems. Finally, he found the wisdom to be taught to all the beings, the teacher. And this wisdom he implemented to subjected that to trial on himself. He saw that all his miseries stop. His happiness becomes infinite. Sugata. With this, he went to teach the beings, to protect the beings by sharing this wisdom. Wow, that's amazing. So this is how he succeeded that. He did it. How? By becoming Buddha. I will follow his footstep. May I also become Buddha for the benefit of my dear mother sentient beings. Feel that. I will also become Buddha like the Buddha Shakyamuni to benefit all the dear mother sentient beings. Okay, with folded hands, let us say this Bodhicitta commitment 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Abide in this most beautiful mind, most courageous and yet most beautiful mind in the entire universe that you have generated now. abiding experience. Amazing. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean moon disk at your heart. That's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of all demons and sentient beings. That's amazing. But how do you know that you can become Buddha? No matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out. Yes, that's true. But I'm not like a handful of sunflower. I'm not like a handful of sand, but I'm like the handful of sunflower seeds. I have the Buddha nature within me, squeezing which oil does come out. I have a Buddha nature. I can become a Buddha. But how come that is not activated till now, since time immemorial? That's true till now. I'm being deceived by the two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. I'm now going to exterminate these two at any cost. How would you do that? But it's sort of a very powerful remedy. What is that remedy? The wisdom of emptiness. Okay, let's quickly meditate on wisdom of emptiness, which we did as the third seal meditation as a part of the four seals. Okay, emptiness of self. What are you doing? I'm meditating. How does the self appear to you? Object real or like a dream that your mind is creating it? Of course, object real. If you identify that, this is in lieu of they identify the essential understanding, the essential identify the object negation. Okay, so how do we know that this self as object real does not exist? Remember what Arjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, one not those close, but the mirage see water. By the similar token reasoning, if the self were to exist objectively, why don't I see the self as I go closer to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to the object which technically refers to the subjective self to ultimate analysis. With this, we end up seeing just 6 elements: element earth, soul parts of the body, water, blood, fire, the body heat, air, the air that we breathe in and out, the space, and the consciousness. Okay, subjective self-ultimate analysis, we just see the 6 elements. Now tell me, which of the 6 elements is the self? None. We are not saying none according to the conventional analysis, but this according to ultimate analysis. Ultimate analysis, it means objectively. Objectively, there's nothing to be identified among 6 elements to be identified intrinsic one with the self. If you're sure of this, you have understood the second essential of understanding the emptiness of objects being intrinsic one with its parts. Okay. Now, if the first possibility for the self-existent object is ruled out, let's go for the second possibility of the only 2 possibilities. Okay, see if the self does exist object real, different from these parts. Remove all these parts, 6 elements. What is left there? Nothing is left there to be identified as a self, different from these 6 elements, intrinsically different from 6 elements. If you're sure of this, you got the third seal, third essential of understanding the emptiness of objects being different from its parts. Good. So now these are only 2 possibilities. If you're sure that the moment these 2 possibilities, both the possibilities are ruled out, that there's no way by which the self can exist objectively there. That's true. If you're sure of this, this is the fourth essential of understanding the provision that anything which is empty of being intrinsic one with its parts and intrinsic empty of being different from its parts entails the emptiness of objective existence of the object. Okay, now the conclusion. Now what you see is, where is the self as object real? Where is that in the eyes of ultimate analysis? In the eyes of ultimate, there's nobody to be seen as a self existing objectively. Okay, stay in this experience. It doesn't mean the self doesn't exist. It simply means self does not exist objectively. That means in the eyes of ultimate analysis. In the eyes of conventional analysis, yes, it does exist. But self-grasping ignorance is believing the self to be existing as objectively in the eyes of ultimate analysis. This is proven to be not true. Okay, stay in this experience where the self dissolves in the experience of ultimate analysis. Slowly transform this wisdom of emptiness into a spotlessly clean, thumb-sized white vajra, vertically sitting on the moon disk of the heart. Okay, that's amazing. Now you have the non-dual bodhicittas, conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. The moon depicting the conventional bodhicitta, which is the aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of all demon sentient beings, which is what helps that, which is one that helps us to exterminate self-centered attitude. And the Vajra is symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, which is the non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas to exterminate all the mental stains. Amazing. The non-dual bodhicittas, the two bodhicittas within us, guarantees that you're going to experience, you'll be freed from all the tears of samsara. You will experience the infinite happiness of the Buddhahood. Wow, that's amazing. Meanwhile, let us not forget that your two parents, your children, your family members, all the dear mothers and sentient beings are suffering terribly. Yes, I know that. But you generate intense compassion towards them. This compassion invokes the Vajramuni to how to multiply infinite number of times. Share one side of the Vajramuni with your mother at her heart, one side with your father at his heart, one side with each one of the children at their hearts, one with each one of the family members at their hearts, one with each one of the living creatures here in Thosamling, in India, in the world, in your own country, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe, wherever in the world, all these trillions and trillions of creatures in the ocean, all these trillions and trillions of creatures in the wilderness, wherever they are, human beings, animals, insects, honey ghosts, God and God spirits, everyone has a share of the Vajramuni from you. You're so kind, amazing. I'm so happy that I'm able to do that. Yes. Let's not forget that all Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Why not we invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas to be a guest and a witness to undertaking the ceremony, taking the especially Bodhisattva vow. So as a gesture of making a gesture of requesting them to be the witness and the guest, let us, along with all the sentient beings, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. You're on your right knees. Page 50, page 50. Okay, since that this is going to be the last day for this retreat, I'm going to give a quick explanation to reinforce your understanding or your cultivation of this thought, or generating this thought today. Okay, visualize all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas there with us now. As you have invited, they do not fail in their duty to come. Like your two parents, say imagine you are a little girl, 5 years old girl or 5 years old boy, and you for the first time in your life make a public appearance on behalf of the school. And your parents know about this, and you invite your parents, and your parents so gladly just left behind all what they have to do for that day. They just joined the audience, waving their hands to you, saying that we are here, we are so proud of you. This is what all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are doing today. They are so happy today. And imagine that you, as a very responsible little girl or little boy, you bring with you all your siblings to this performance. And this is exactly how you do, to bring all the dear sentient beings as your siblings to take part in this, the expressing Bodhisattva vow ceremony. Even the most difficult people who otherwise they suffer, endlessly suffer because of being difficult, because of accumulating negative karma, and you are giving them the opportunity with so much love and affection. You're bringing them closer to you, Okay, with this in mind, the first verse, you are actually making the greatest of the aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. For that matter, this become Buddha means taking the journey to Buddhahood. This journey is something which you have never taken before, because of which we require incredible support, greatest of support, which is the Triple Gem. So the first line says, I go for refuge in Triple Gem. And with the great support, the road must be clear for the journey. The road should not be blocked by the boulders and the fallen trees and so forth. And road is none other than your own mind. Your mind should be freed of the boulders and the fallen trees of the negativities, the negative karmas, negative thoughts and so forth. And by the best way by which you do so is confess the negativities. Second line says, I confess the negativities individually. Now the road is clear, but if the car does not have the fuel, again you cannot undertake the journey. The car must have enough fuel. And again, the car is none other than your own mind. Your mind must have full of fuel of the virtues. And the best way by which you do so is by rejoicing the virtues of others rather than being jealous and so forth. The third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. So now the road is clear, you have great support, a guide there, the road is clear, and the car is in the fuel. So what kind of journey am I going to undertake? I'm going to undertake the journey of the Buddhahood. The fourth line says, I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Wholeheartedly say this 3 times. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The next two verses are the main ceremony. But you can actually undertake the ceremony just by the first verse which we already read, just by this as well. So if you want to include all 3, then the next 2 become the main ceremony of taking the esteemed Bodhisattva vow. So here you invoke Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to be here to us. Then the 2 verses, the first one is related to the Buddhas of the past, and the second verse is related to you. The first one, who actually succeeded in this journey? If you look at the history of humanity, we see that there was a Buddha Shakyamuni who did it. How did he do that? With 2 factors. The first factor, he generated very strong desire to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. This is generally bodhicitta. And second factor, to materialize the aspiration of this bodhicitta, he engaged in the Bodhisattva practices to act upon this. And thus he succeeded. And now he became the light of the sun and the light of the whole universe. Benefit all these innumerable beings since 2,500 years ago. Even today being benefited human beings, the non-human beings and all. If this is how he succeeded, I will follow his footsteps. I will also engage to create the 2 factors. I will generate the first factor of generate a very strong bodhicitta, and to second factor, to materialize the aspiration, I will engage in Bodhisattva practices. Okay, 3 times together, wholeheartedly. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the amount of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the amount of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the amount of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Feel the joy of having received that Bodhisattva vow. And there's no special commitment there. If at all you want to take something's commitment, that is that from today onwards, I'll try my best to render help and service, benefit to other beings. If not, at least I'll not harm others. This much if you commit, you're entitled to take this. You have received the esteemed Bodhisattva vow. Okay. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so happy, so proud of what you did today. Like the mother, after all these many years of receiving complaints, hearing the complaints of the daughter and the son from the school principal. Today the school principal comes and again the mother feels apprehensive. What kind of complaints? The school principal is very different today. She said, "Oh no, I think I came here to congratulate you for what? That your son and your daughter, two of them, were appointed as the best students for this year of the school." The mother could not believe her eyes and ears. For the first time after all these many years, she is hearing this so pleasant news. I mean, she is so proud of you. And this is exactly what has happened to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. After all these many incredible lifetimes of them expecting us, like small children, to do something good and always doing bad things, and we suffer in tears. And today, what you did, they were so happy, they could not believe their eyes and ears. They were so happy. The happiness and joy that they feel invoke the full-fledged, the Vajramuni in the full-fledged form in their hearts to multiply infinite number of times. All these innumerable replicas of Vajramuni, their descent to merge with the one they are visualizing at the heart. They become non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all those innumerable replicas of Vajramuni from the house of Buddhas Bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that are visualized at the heart of your mother, the Vajramuni at the heart of your mother, at the heart of your father, each one of children, each one of family members, each one of sentient beings here in Thosamling, in India, in your country, in the world, in the entire Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. Like everyone, all the creatures in the oceans, all the creatures in the wilderness, everyone. The Vajramuni that you have shared with them, they're all blessed and they become non-dual and stabilized by the Vajramuni from all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas. Amazing. If at all there is one gift which is the most valuable for the beings, taking the experience of Bodhisattva vow is the greatest gift. And today you have gifted all your dear sentient beings with this gift. And the Buddha declared, one moment generating compassion towards the beings far excels the gifts of the whole universe filled with gems and offered to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If this were to be the case, what to mention of our having taken the experience of Bodhisattva today? This is the greatest gift that you can imagine. But this is the greatest offering that you can imagine of making to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And today you did it. And in your life, we see that this is the greatest meaning. And today you have given a meaning to your own life. All these wonders happening is amazing. It really deserves to be celebrated, rejoiced, adored. This all happens because of the kindness of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, let us again stand up to make 3 prostrations along with all dear sentient beings. Okay, please take your seats. So since that this is the last session for this retreat, let's make a wholehearted prayer that we never be separated from these 2 teachings, the Bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness, even in the future lifetimes, so that you can continue to practice this and move from Gade par move towards the Bodhiswa Gade para Samgade Bodhiswa continuously for yourself and for all other beings. Okay, well, I say this 3 times, each 51. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicitta even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicitta even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicitta even in the course of my life. Now, to feel the joy of having taken the esteemed Bodhisattva vow and general Bodhicitta, let's recite the following verses so that in the future lifetimes, the mere hearing of the word Bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, there's such joy coming in you that you'll be reconnected with these two practices. In order to further increase this Bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened the mind of Bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now am one of Buddha's children. Thus whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall a disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied trace. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. Is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. Is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. Is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. Is that a treasure that shelters all beings, wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is a dawning mortal mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is a great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churn of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling the path of conditioned existence, who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May God's demigods all be joyful. Okay, let us dedicate the merits thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to true source of joy and happiness on this earth today, that he lives long, and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously, and particularly his aspiration of the universal ethics. The now taking the form of sea learning, that be disseminated all over the world, be implemented in the academic institutions, other institutions as well, be taken up seriously by the various governments and the UNO. So let's pray that these things happen for the welfare of the whole world, that in future there's no wars happening in the world, there's no domestic violence happening in the world, there's no corruption, there's nothing really bad practices happening, that everybody lives in the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood through the implementation of his own vision for the world, which is universal ethics. And let's pray that all the incredibly great the Dharma centers and the learning centers of the different traditions, of Theravada tradition, Chinese tradition, Tibetan tradition, within Tibetan tradition, Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelug, may they thrive in the activities of study, reflection, meditation of the true Bodhicittas for the welfare of all human sentient beings. And let me personally pray at the direct merits thus gathered, that each one of you, through your concerted effort, be able to soon see the dawn of the true Bodhicittas within you for the benefit of all human sentient beings. With this mind, let us recite the following verses. I dedicate the merit thus gathered to truest realization that is in the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. May I know all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds is planted by ignorance. Yata Om Gate Gate Paragade Parasamgade Bodhiswaha Tyata Om Gate Gate Paragade Parasamgade samgate bodhisvatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvaha. Three processions together.